Welcome back to Love Fashionably, the podcast here on BGTV Studios. I'm so grateful that you are joining me again on this Monday night. It happens to be July 1st, so Merry Christmas in July. Yes, I am that girl. I love all of the Hallmark, Great American Family, Christmas movies, so July does tend to hold a lot of Christmas movies. And if decorations weren't all packed up and so hard to get to, I might have some of them out in my house. I love Christmas. It's my most favorite time of the year. And I do decorate really early, and I do celebrate Christmas in July. So thanks for being here with me. As always, a special thank you to BGTV Studios for hosting this weekly podcast. If you don't know that BGTV Studios, we are a podcast network. There are lots of podcasts that are happening all throughout the week, several on Monday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So if you want more information, you can check out bgtvstudios.com. There you can also find the show schedule. You can find out more information. There's ways to give and also just to communicate with us. If you are wanting to know more, you have a question about something, or just a word of encouragement, we would love to hear from you. So definitely check that out as well. So again, thank you for joining and being a part. Today we're going to jump in and kind of talk about a story that if you grew up in church is probably pretty familiar to you, or even if you didn't, you probably heard this story. I feel like it's one of the most popular ones, or more popular ones, I guess I should say. And it really focuses on two brothers. So there is one brother that stays and a brother that gets mad and leaves for a short time. But today I'm going to kind of shift the perspective on it and kind of see what we can kind of see a little bit different about that. I think probably if you grew up in church or as a Christian, you have, when you hear this story, you think, oh, it's that one brother who's like the ultra lost sinner, like the one that's doing stuff really bad. It definitely can't pertain anything to you, but I kind of want to challenge us a little bit to kind of see it a little different. While this story happens in the book of Luke, and Jesus is kind of talking through this chapter about going after the lost one, that, again, I think that we might find ourselves a little bit within the story of the prodigal son. So bear with me just to kind of refresh all of our memory. I'm going to read through the story. So it's Luke 15:11 through 24. So again, a lot of scripture, but again, I just want to kind of set the picture a little bit for us. So it says, to illustrate the point further, Jesus told them this story. A man had two sons. The younger son told his father, I want my share of your estate now before you die. So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, this young son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land, and there he wasted all his money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, at home, even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me as a hired servant. So he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son. But his father said to the servants, Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet. and kill the calf we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast, for this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found." So the party began. So we've kind of named this story. Jesus doesn't name the story, but we, I guess, over time and through culture have named the story as the prodigal son, the one that was lost that came home. And he gets his name, again, because he left. He was in his father's house. He grew tired of the current circumstances, I guess. We can probably assume, I think from what we can assume from the story is that he was in a place where he was fully provided for, but the things of the world just started to look a little bit better for him. And so he decided to leave. So instead of going to talk to his father about how he might could change where he's at, he decided that he was just going to take what was his and go. And I think, a lot of times in our life, there are areas in our life that, God just wants to clean up, and maybe we just need to make some changes in the current circumstances instead of leaving to go try to find something else. To me, it really sounds a lot like the bride of Christ. We are in our Father's house, and we can talk to him, and we can listen to him. But a lot of times it's just easier in the things of the world, because sometimes what he's asking us to do may be hard, it may be difficult. We're just like, okay, I'm going to leave because the world's looking better for me right now. And I think that's really sad when you kind of think about it, because you have all of the provision that you need if you just stay planted. And kind of speaking of plants, so recently I, as I've shared on here, I moved within the past couple months, and I am that girly girl. I like everything has a place and everything in its place. That used to not always be my life motto, but a little bit of OCD has gotten in there over the years. And so I like everything in its place. I like my place to be decorated, to be full, so that it kind of really feels like home. And at my new house, I have this balcony. And so I wanted to decorate the balcony, again, make it feel cute, homey. You girls out there, you totally understand exactly what I'm saying. So I wanted to put out the cute little lights, but they're not the HOA, but the apartment people, whatever you want to call them. They were like, you can't do lights. Everything has to look uniform. So no lights. So the next best thing was to get a flower, get a little color out there. Now, I am not one of those plant moms where it's been all the rage the past couple years where everybody's like, oh, I love all of my plants. I think this is the first time in my life I've ever owned a plant and tried to keep it alive. So it's been a new experience, but it's been something I've really enjoyed. Every time I go out, enjoy getting to water it, looking at it. And when I got it, it was really pretty. It had all of these blooms on it. And then after a couple weeks, everything died. I thought, oh my gosh, I've already killed the plant. I'm 3 weeks in. And all of the blooms died. And so I knew that when there is death, you have to take off the blooms, pull up all of the bad leaves and things. You have to prune the plant so that it can have even more growth. And so I started with 5 blooms, and then after those died, I kind of cleaned it up, and now I have 6 blooms. And I think this is just a really great picture. In John 15, verses 1 and 2, Jesus says, I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit so they produce even more. And so I think a lot of the times, we think, for the prodigal son. So instead of going to talk to the father, because he was probably thinking, oh, he's going to be mad at me. Like if I want to bring up this, or he's asking me to do this and I don't really want to do it. There can be lots of different situations to prune in your life. Lots of different areas, because we always want to be growing and getting better. And so I think we think that the Father's going to be mad at us, or it's something we need to be ashamed of. And so we try to hide it and we run away. But like I said, for me, the pruning has been one of the funnest parts of having the plant. I love getting to come out there every day to see what is dead and what I can pick off of it. And it's kind of amazing to think that maybe that's the way our Father is. That maybe God really enjoys when we bring things to him, or we allow parts of ourselves to die so that we can, it says, we're supposed to die to our flesh so that we might be more alive in him. And I think that he likes that. I think a lot of the times we think, again, I think it's those parts of us that we don't really want to die, that we're like, yeah, but I like that flesh part of ourselves where we like, I really want to hold on to that because I enjoy that. But God's asking you to let it go and to allow that part to die to yourself. And we don't want to let it go. And I think those are the parts that he really enjoys. He enjoys picking it off because he knows that more growth is going to be coming. And like in that death of it, new life, new growth, new joy, happiness, and peace all kind of can come into our life. In Nehemiah 8, verse 10, it says, "Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength." And again, I think for us, we can find new joy when we allow God to work in our lives and to do and move and shift and change the part of us. So for the prodigal son, he didn't really want to, I'm guessing, to face the circumstances that he was currently in. And so the world just grew really good to him. Like it just looked so good. So he left for it. And I think that's what we do a lot of the times, that when things get hard in one area of our life, we look for the easy way out. And joy is not always in the easy way out. Joy is in doing the hard thing, because the hard thing will produce within you those fruits, the fruits of the Spirit, and bring joy and peace and love and happiness. And so just kind of like as a word of encouragement, that a lot of the times what we may look at, again, to kind of change our perspective, I talk about that a lot, about this change in perspective. I feel like that's something that's not always easy, but I do feel like it's something that God has allowed me to. I'm one of those people that I see the cup half full, not half empty. I don't know which you are. So like if you see it half empty, this is probably very hard for you. But you kind of have to take a step back too and kind of realize and see it from a new perspective, and realize that yes, it may be painful, it may be hard, it may be something that you don't want to do, but it can kind of shift your mindset, kind of like as a reset, like a hard reset. I don't know, I was not a gamer, or I'm not a gamer. The only thing I ever played was Nintendo, and I don't know if you've ever played, I'm aging myself, but if you played Nintendo, remember you have to take it out when it doesn't work and you blow on it and then you put it back in, like that hard reset to kind of get the game to work again. I've kind of been doing that over this past weekend. I did this little metabolic reset to kind of like just reset my body to kind of get things back in alignment. And sometimes we just need those in our life. We need those hard reset moments to kind of take away the things that we are loving or enjoying, to put in the right things to feed us the right way, to have growth, and to be able to move and to go in the right way that we are supposed to. I have one final verse to kind of sum up, I feel like, and everything. So in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 13, he says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend or lean, in some translations it says, don't lean on your own understanding. So seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. Don't be impressed with your own wisdom. Instead, fear the Lord and turn away from evil. Then you will have healing for your body and strength for your bones. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the best part of everything you produce. Then he will fill your barns with grain, and your vats will overflow with good wine. My children, don't reject the Lord's discipline, and don't be upset when he corrects you. For the Lord corrects those he loves, just as a father corrects a child in whom he delights. Joyful is the person who finds wisdom, and the one who gains understanding. And so again, it's just, changing our perspective and being open to what the Lord wants to do in our lives. It's not easy. It may not feel good, but like that plant that I have, it may not feel good when I pluck off the dead, but it's dead. Allow those things that God's asking you to give up and to let go of. It's easier and it'll bring you more joy to do it than to walk away for a season. You don't want to leave him. He has all of your provision. That's what the whole prodigal son, he realized. He realized when he went out in the world that the world didn't have what he needed, that his father had everything he needed at his house. And so even though the money was a lot and it gave a lot of fun for a moment, that his father had everything he needed for his entire life. And that's the reason he came home. And so whether that is you today, whether you feel like you're that prodigal, I feel like we all can be that. That's kind of what I was thinking when I was thinking on this, is that we all are that prodigal. There's always something that we need to be changing or to be growing, to be letting go of, that is like the world that God's asking us to let go of so that we can be more joyful in our Father's house. And whatever that is, just I'm encouraging you to kind of just talk with the Lord and just to submit and to obey him. It's so much better to do that than to wonder. But I hope that encouraged you a little bit. And again, thanks for always joining here at Love Fashionably. Like I mentioned, it is July 1st, so the 4th is coming up this week on Thursday. So happy 4th of July. I don't know about you, but I am so thankful and blessed that I was born in America and that I get to live in this country, and to our founding fathers who risked their lives and the people that continue to risk their lives every day so that we can have this freedom and to live here so free. We think we're bound and there's got to be all these changes and we're always trying to create this new movement, but it's such a blessing. So happy birthday, America. I hope that you enjoy spending time with your family and friends, and I will see you all next time here on Love Fashionably.